All right. I'll start with the first one now. Over the last few decades, mobile games have evolved drastically. So, according to you, how has India's smartphone gaming industry landscape turned out in the previous decade, and how is digital gaming society helping India's landscape to grow?
So, I completely agree with you. That if you look at mobile games, uh, has really seen a great push in the last decade, but more so in the last 18 months, right? Ever since the pandemic, hit India, what has happened is because people have stayed indoors, there has been a massive growth, in terms of both the number of people who are playing games, but more so in the time in the terms of engagement that existing gamers have had with games. So across our products, we have seen anywhere between 40 to 100% growth in the amount of time spent on our
Right.
games. So
Yeah.
if you have it on your mobile phone, it's much easier. You were spending 30, 40 minutes, now you're spending over an hour and a half on the same game, right? So we've seen that big jump. The second big thing is that I think in terms of just the sheer number of gamers, right, who have come in, at an India level, have again expanded significantly, and now this is a month-on-month growth that we are witnessing, right? Maybe
Right. Yeah.
10 million gamers are joining, the entire thing every month, right? Anywhere between 5, 8, 10 million. So, in a country of maybe 350 million gamers today, we are really talking of a very large number getting added to the gaming ecosystem. And to really talk about the Indian Digital Gaming Society, which I'm the president of, and which CII as an industry body actually put together nearly 5 years ago, right? I think has played a very critical role, because 5 years ago, if you talked of online gaming in India, it was still very nascent, and CII said in our discussions with the Ministry of Commerce, when we were identifying where will this $1 trillion of the $5 trillion new economy come from, we said gaming would
Right.
be a component of that, right? It will have people who will get talent into the gaming ecosystem, engineering, creative talent. We can become part of the global supply chain of gaming. How could we create products that would work for gaming in India? Because we're a relatively young country, right?
Right.
Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, they're all gamers, right? I think data shows that 87% of Gen Z
Yes.
are
Yes.
gamers, right? So how can we, having the largest population in the world with that, within that age bracket, how can we not,
Yeah.
capture that?
Absolutely.
So what we did is we brought interest from some of the world's largest gaming companies. So if you see the 2017 India Gaming Show at the Pragati Maidan that I chaired, which was the first show of that side, we had some of the world's largest Japanese, US companies in India setting up these massive, stalls showcasing their products. We literally had to, put a barricade to prevent people
Right.
from coming in. And CII being more a B2B platform really didn't see that kind of consumer surge, right? And I remember the Sony PlayStation head of India telling me that the number of PlayStations that they sold in Delhi that following week were probably more than they'd sold in the past 6 months. So the impact of taking things on the ground, exposing great, gaming, concepts and ideas to others makes a difference. We also had the IT state minister, the union
Right.
minister
Yeah.
there, and he played our Sachin Saga game, with the bat, and he said, I used to always tell my kids, don't game because it's not a good thing. But he's saying now I'm getting excited about this, right?
Right.
And understand the talent that goes in, the complexity that goes in. So it's about really building awareness, and I think that's what the Indian Digital Gaming Society has done: is built awareness with stakeholders, it's built awareness with gamers. And I think the responsibility of the game development companies, in India, to see how we can create great games that are localized, how can, which can still be great in the world, so there are many, many angles that, a society like that would fulfill. But I think most importantly, and what is different about Indian Digital Gaming Society, is we have actually involved gamers as well to because India has an opportunity to shape its gaming ecosystem differently from the rest of the world. I mean, we are barely 1% of what the world gaming industry is. So we have a good catch up to do, and we'll do it in our own way.
Right. Yeah. So I would ask the second question. That is, Ludo games have become the most popular entertainment during the lockdown. Like everyone was playing Ludo. I myself was one of them. So is Ludo Zenith one of the results of this overnight popularity?
So yeah, so if you look at Jet Synthesis, right, we are very, very clear that our games that we build for India and for Indian gamers and audiences need to resonate, with the pulse of India, right? So, whether it's a cricket game, Sachin Saga, or now Real Cricket, where we are, the dominant players in the market. Cricket is like you breathe cricket in India, So similarly, we felt Ludo is something that has had historical, decades and centuries
Yeah.
ago. People, we've all grown up in our homes playing a game with the family, so Ludo had a natural affiliation when it came to India, right? And of course, we partnered with one of the world's largest gaming companies, Square Enix, which is a $2 billion plus company, to create a product for India that we felt would resonate with the masses, but also bring about, a very strong aspect of what gaming means to the world, right? So if you see, Square Enix, the reason they are where they are in the world is because they've been able to create, unique and exciting abilities, of their characters. So you see Final Fantasy and others, they are, it's the world of imagination, right?
Right.
So brought the best of what, Square Enix had with what best was what Jet Synthesis, had developed an understanding of India market. We closed in on Ludo, and Ludo Zenith is really a product of that, right? So it's got the competitiveness of a global game, right? It's got the character of an Indian context, to make that happen, and it's brought the abilities of both Jet Synthesis and Square Enix together to make that happen. So the strategy you need to adopt to win a game in Ludo Zenith is a lot more than any other Ludo game, right? So you can choose to be depending on a turtle, how you want to play a defense strategy, you want to play an aggressive strategy, you want to be the rhino, you have the options and therefore create. So we really look at Ludo Zenith as actually having a champion like for Ludo Zenith. So it's beyond just regular Ludo, but you will say Roshni is the national champion or the Mumbai champion for Ludo Zenith, right? Which in a normal Ludo game you will never
No, we
have.
cannot. Yeah.
Right? So if you look at it in that sense, because you're not only leveraging Ludo, you're also leveraging your strategy, your ability.
Yes.
That's really where we are building, the title for, because
Right.
then you can take it to the world. It's a great Indian export of Ludo, but competing, in a manner that the whole world can understand, right? That subtle base on which the India story is built. Like if you see yoga, you look at all these exports from India, right? They get modified in different countries, based where it is. So we are actually creating that global benchmark on a base which is strongly Indian. When we looked at Ludo Zenith and did it with a very large global partner. So we are very excited about, where this game will go in the years to come.
Yeah. Okay. So basically Ludo being in an advanced format, you can say.
Yes.
Yeah. So how has the development of Jet Synthesis been since last year, and what changes have you observed in the engagement of the audiences?
Yeah. So, in the last year, we have seen a significant, growth in Jet Synthesis. As I always say, what we thought would happen in 2023, has already happened for us now, right? So we have to reimagine our future. How do we, invest further? Where are the areas? So we are very optimistic on the future of, where we are headed, right? Particularly when it comes to our gaming piece. So it has definitely been a very strong year for us. And if we look forward, engagement of audiences is pretty interesting because, as we talked earlier, we've seen a lot of gamers who were not gaming before come in, right? As I said, we've seen that happen significantly. We've seen a lot more female gamers coming in to many of our products. We do see a change, of course, with deeper engagement with Gen Z, which I've already mentioned to you. And really, how do we look at, bringing in new audiences or older audiences who are getting deeper engaged? So for us, it's really like about, somebody who is playing our game on, say, Sachin, Saga or on Real Cricket for 40 minutes a day, 50. Why are they playing it for 1 hour 10 minutes, 1 hour 20 minutes, right? What are those aspects of that gaming that they're able to understand? The second big part about our audiences and what has happened again during the pandemic is the social aspect. So, at the time when you're sitting at home, you're not meeting people. So people are really using our games to meet new people, right? So our social aspects in gaming has also skyrocketed, right, during this time. So, people are not necessarily only going to social media sites anymore to meet new people. Like earlier, you went to Facebook, you connected with your friends, you went to Insta. Now you're going to a game and you're connecting with new people, right? So that difference is also there, and that has changed the nature of our audiences, right? So, we're getting friends of our gamers and others coming onto our games and platform, and those are now becoming audiences. Sometimes those friends might be, your aunt or, somebody who's 50 years old or 60 years old, right? Because you're bringing them, introducing them. So in a way, our current gamers are hand holding others and bringing them into the world of gaming because of the social aspect, right? So that is also changing audiences very differently. So very interesting how the, things are
Concept
shaping
is
up.
going on, yeah.
Whole thing is how it's shaping up as we move forward, but that's how it seems to be moving. Yeah.
So, did the partnership with Square Enix manage to renovate the legendary game of Ludo? And if it did, then how?
No, absolutely. As I as I just mentioned to you, I think bringing in the capabilities of Square Enix, the special abilities, the India understanding, has definitely reimagined Ludo. In the lines of what I mentioned, where today you can have a Ludo Zenith, champion, right? How do we really make that happen? So we leverage what is India's strength. We leverage what is the global strength of Square Enix, and really see how we can create a world-class game that the world will engage on, which is an export from India. So it definitely has changed the way Ludo is perceived. Will be perceived in the game, in the world, as the legendary game as we have known it. Yeah.
So, with this $2 million investment, Tendulkar joins the bandwagon of existing shareholders of Jet Synthesis. What are your thoughts on this?
So, Sachin has been a very old partner of Jet Synthesis,
Yeah.
for sure. And, over the last 5 years, we have strengthened and built our relationship. As you're aware, we've got some of the iconic marquee family offices of India who have invested with us. So we're really looking at, Jet Synthesis being the vehicle for the right, you know, business persons, sports celebrities, and others who really want to, strengthen the digital piece, of new age media and entertainment for the country, and be a part of creating that history.
Right.
The Jet Synthesis, when we look at Jet Synthesis, we say we are going to create that new age media entertainment company from India. That is unique. It's not. We don't know what that will be. As we move forward, but it's definitely something that will be a different from maybe what a Tencent has been to China or anything else, right? So we have very high ambitions. So Sachin, of course, a Bharat Natna, a very, very strong brand in himself, someone who, understands the power of digital. I mean, he has over 100 million followers across social media. Would be a great partner both for Jet Synthesis, and Jet Synthesis is a partner for him to be able to do a lot more. So yeah, we are very excited about this development.
So, what developments and investments of Jet Synthesis are we going to witness in the future? And is there any other partnership that is coming up?
So yeah, we've got a lot of partnerships in the pipeline, and you will hear about it as we announce them. But yes, we are really looking at strengthening our India play. So you will hear investments, developments, which are going to strengthen Jet Synthesis's play in India. And at the same time, we are also, as I said, expanding our global reach. So you will hear about partnerships, with large global gaming studios and others around products, both for India and for the world. So yeah, we are very excited about our approach to gaming. We are looking at it both from an India context and a global context. Yeah.
I'll just ask my last question, sir.
Yeah.
That is, as the Madras High Court recently passed a judgment on the Tamil Nadu Gaming Act, which banned the online games, what are going to be the complication and impact of this act on the online games according to you?
Yeah. See, I think I've always been a believer that, it's always the law of the land, that will decide, what is right for the country. And, very hard to comment on why a court or a Supreme Court or a High Court judge, would take a decision or a judgment passed in a particular way, is because, ultimately we have full faith in the judiciary, and they will look at it, holistically what's right for India, right? So see, as an industry, what I always believe is, whatever is the law of the land, right? How do you work within that to create, the best company that can exist, right? So that's really how we are taking Jet Synthesis, right? So, I think the implications of this judgment impact, fantasy gaming and real money gaming and all areas in which, we are not involved in. And one of the reasons we have also kind of consciously stayed away, because there isn't any clear emerging clarity as to what the law of the land for that would be, right? Because it's a state subject, different states will handle that. And maybe that will go on for a while, right? It will, because everybody is trying to understand and just appreciate what online gaming is, right? Then to complicate it, you have esports and you have, so many other things, right, that are happening at the same time. You have real money gaming, we have fantasy sport. Really, how do we, define the gaming ecosystem in India, right? So I think it's a conversation. It's something that is building up in the country. I think we'll see many such, things happen along the journey, right? And as I said, I'm a fully supportive of what the law of the land decides, whether it's at a state level or at a national level. And as industry participants who want the future of India, in any business area to be strong, needs to work, closely with, what the government and the law of the land wants also, because there's a holistic view for larger populations. There's the industry, and how do we really bring that best together, both, for the country and for how these companies will shape up, in global markets. So yeah, so it's pretty interesting, that we will see a lot of these things happening, over a period of time.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time, and this interaction was lovely.
Yeah,
we got a good insights on how Jet Synthesis is actually working now.
No, thank you, Roshni. And anytime you need any inputs, feel free to, reach out. Happy to chat whenever. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks. Take care.
Thank you, Lamya.
Roshni.
Bye-bye.